Hey, welcome back. We're back to our old familiar view. Hey, before I forget, I wanted to thank Brent and Mark, who gave me some contributions to the qt50 HPI ignition system project. I really appreciate it. And as a matter of fact, to everybody who's donated $10 or more, send me your address and I will send you a qt50 related item that I think you will find very useful. So, and hey, if you want to still donate, I'll throw that offer out there to anybody who hasn't but will in the future. Just go to qt50.net, you'll see a donation button, and if you make a donation of $10 or more, send me your address. I will send you a useful, functional qt50 item that I think everybody could use. I may switch it up. I've got a couple things in mind. You could get this, you could get that. Secret toy surprise in the pack. You know, send me your address and we'll do it. Anyhow, I also wanted, before I forget, I've got some introductory remarks. I've made them right here, so typed them up even because I like to think that I can just do this all off the cuff, but I've started to realize my limitations. Anyhow, it's been a real thrill, real. Man, I can't even talk, man. I'm so choked up and touched by just the love, the outpouring of qt50 loving that's come my way. I can't even pronounce simple, one syllable words. It's been a thrill. How about that? To do the HPI project on the qt50, as well as the Gemco exhaust project. Now these projects kind of overlapped, and I still owe you guys some final results from the Gemco. And I was still getting it tuned in jetting, and then all of a sudden the HPI ignition showed up, and I had to start on that. So, I'm doing two things at once, and that can be a problem, but I'll get that out for you. But I think both of these projects have really got a lot of people involved, and it's great to feel that other people are enjoying this as much as, or more than, or almost as much as me, and that there's just some enjoyment out there. And I can tell because I'm getting qt50 veterans coming out of the woodwork and commenting and sending me messages. For example, I got a message and a comment from one of the qt50 veterans out there, Arlie Ensley, out of Michigan, I believe, the great state of Michigan. Arlie has been into qt50s for at least 5 or 6 years, probably longer. And he owns or has owned at least 7 qt50s, a few townies, and probably some other Yamaha bikes that I don't know about. And Arlie is a wealth of qt50 knowledge, so it's great to see him still active in the qt50 community. I remember seeing him on Moped Army, but I think, as often happens on Moped Army, there's not a lot of there's a lot of newbies, which is fine. I don't mind helping out the people that are new to the Yamaha qt50, but as somewhat of a veteran myself, you're also looking for more than just the average beginner questions or beginner projects or things like that. So maybe Arlie got less involved with it because of that, or maybe he got busy with other things, or maybe I'm completely wrong. But Arlie was a part of a time on Moped Army, probably in 2013, 14, 15, 16, and maybe before, where you read some of these posts, and I was involved in some of it towards the end, um, where people are doing things that are really inspiring and really interesting, and you want to find out where this is all leading, the stuff that they're doing, and they're getting a bunch of other people involved, which is kind of how I feel about this project and the Gemco project. And I think, why are we? I got a lot of questions of, why did I buy the Gemco exhaust? It's so expensive, and maybe some people are watching this, and why are you doing this HPI thing, man? It's so expensive too. And it makes me ask myself, why am I doing this, or why are we qt50 fanatics doing this? And I think one of the main reasons we're doing it is we want to find out what the limits are of this bike. What can it do? You'll get. I think the problem with Moped Army is, you'll get on one of these threads where someone's doing something that's pushing the qt50 limits, and then all of a sudden the thread just dies out, or you can't figure out exactly everything they're doing because they haven't given you all the details, or they've unintentionally skipped over the details, or maybe they've intentionally skipped over some of the details because they want to kind of keep it to themselves. And one of my goals with these videos is to give you a step-by-step how-to, so you can replicate this at home, or you've got a guide to go by. Now, I may blow it, and you may still have questions, but I'm always happy to, if you have a question, hey, you left out this part, what happened here? I'm always happy to answer those questions, or follow up with another video. So, one of my goals is to give you a step-by-step, so that, you could do the same thing in your garage to your qt50. And then, another one of my goals is to provide results to you about, for example, when we get done and I've tested this a bit and adjusted it, tell you, hey, here's what I got out of this on my setup, and kind of compare that to my setup in the past, and you can take those results and evaluate the project, and consider the project, and determine if this is something that you want to spend time and money on. So I'm really happy that we've formed a qt50 community through this Gemco project and this HPI project, and I appreciate all the interest and help, and I encourage you to keep contributing your knowledge towards the goal of discovering the qt50's limits. So feel free to suggest in the comments below any limit pushing qt50 project that you are working on, or that you're considering, or that you've dreamed about, and maybe we can make that happen. I've got some projects in mind, but I'll keep those to myself. We still got a long way to go. We haven't reached the end of what this bike can do. There's still, I've got some things on the back burner that I'll keep under the vest for now, but share them with you later. But I think really cool things happen when you get a group of people who share the same interest, enthusiasm for this bike, and goals. So let's keep it going, man. Let's keep moving forward. Although sometimes, you know, you take a couple steps back to take a few steps forward. That's kind of one of the lessons of mopeds. The lessons of mopeds. Did I do a video on that, or did I just write something about it? One of the lessons of mopeds is, or nopeds. I use them synonymously here. I know the difference. Don't worry. Is to always expect failure, and I'll touch on that more in a minute. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention about the timing curve. You know, the advantages of the timing curve is not only the retarding the timing, but it also advances the timing, you know, up through the early RPM range, and that helps with your acceleration. So when your RPMs aren't really high and you're not generating, the engine's not making a lot of heat, you can advance the timing, and that will improve your power and acceleration. So I wanted to bring that up. I was watching that other video. I was like, I blew it. I forgot to mention that. Oh, so what you don't know, or what you haven't seen on video, is I've actually started the bike, and today I took it out for a ride. And of course, you know, I've learned the lesson of mopeds, or one of the lessons of mopeds, which I just recited, and that is to always expect failure at first. Actually expect failure many, many times before success. And so I went out on a ride with a bit of trepidation, because I was like, yeah, you know, something's going to go wrong. You know, this thing's not going to be right. The timing's going to be off. It's going to be bucking around, and I'll try to accelerate, and it's going to try to throw me off, or it's going to run really rough, or whatever. Wrong, man. This thing ran pretty damn smooth. And I still, you know, even though I was surprised by that, I was still expecting. I just took it out for like 10 or 15 minutes, and didn't really get on it too much, because, you know, it's kind of a shakedown thing where you're like, well, you know, I don't want to push it to the limits, because, you know, maybe something's not installed right, or the timing's off, or, you know, who knows, right? You always got that at the back of your head. At least when you get enough experience with, you know, failure in these things, you get that in the back of your head. So a lot of you are probably still pretty carefree, and you just, you know, throw on that top end kit and just give it hell, you know, once you get it started. But, you know, there might be a better way. There might be, you know, I'm just saying, mate. So that, and then also, I guess I left you with the last video because the battery died on my iPhone my iPhone, which I used to film these things, was, I think I left it with, now the only question is, click, blackness, right? What was the only question? Well, the only question is, how close will I be in terms of starting and riding the bike? You know, how close have I set the timing, so that will this thing start and run, and will it ride right? Well, I guess I just answered that for you. So I guess I was pretty damn close. But anyhow, blah, blah, blah. Here we are 13 and a half minutes into the video. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. I wanted to accomplish a couple things. One is, I wanted to adjust the timing by moving the stator plate to the left, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, should retard the timing slightly. And what's the best way to go about that? Now they've got this little, you can kind of see it, this little chart right up here. And of course the directions, sorry if I'm so close to the camera microphone and all of a sudden my voice is much louder. Well, it'd be the best way to do that. And then what does each of those marks mean exactly? I guess we'll never know, will we? By the way, Treatland has a bunch of those parts I was talking about on their website for cheaper than the HPI site. You can get the 2-curve CDI for 85 bucks. You can get that button switch for 22 bucks. They've got replacement mini rotors and other stuff. So yeah, it's all there, man. What was I talking about? Go to HPI site in Belgium and, you know, pay a fortune for shipping and value added tax. Wrong. You know, that's not going to work. So anyway, oh, and they've got the flywheel weight thing too. I forget how much that was. So, well, any suggestions? Anybody want to jump out there and tell me how I should set the timing, retard the timing? I'm pretty sure I need to move that stator plate to the left, and well, we'll just guess. You know, sometimes in life, a good guess is, an educated guess is all you got, right? Let me move you a little bit. So, I'm thinking we just take the mark on the flywheel and stay right there, Mr. Light, thank you. All right, so I imagine the lighting issue here is, I bet you if we just take this, line it up with, I don't know, we line it up with the E right there, and then I'm just going to move this thing 2 clicks to the left. Actually, we'll line it up with the end. Since we are under compression, since the cylinder head is on, in other words, that rotor should not, I guess I could put the piston stop in to be doubly sure. No, I don't think so. I think I'll just do this. So this is kind of the the huge advantage of this system is being able to make this adjustment if I could just, alright, we're going to do it with the chopsticks, I think. Just take, oh yeah, we're already moving. Alright, I've moved it 2 clicks to the left. Is that right? No, that's not right at all, is it? I moved it 2 clicks to the right. Silly me. So let's move it back. Please move. Did I tighten them all? I don't think I did. Why aren't you moving? Alright, let's try it again, shall we? Push up on this one. just going to do, I'll tell you what we need to do. Put it back where it was. Right there. And not quite. Sorry. Alright, now we will tighten it. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is put that on the put it on the end. All right. Now let's move it 2 clicks to the right. I think that's it. Alright, let's double check that. Almost there. I'm sorry, 2 clicks to the left. Nope, not quite. I guess doing this in the daylight might be a better situation. Just a tad more. Good God, I think the wires are holding me up here. Try that. All right, that's good. I like it. 2 clicks to the left. Left, my friend, left. Right. Alright, so we'll see how that does. And I guess at this point it's just kind of a matter of trial and error. Oh man, we're running into late bits here. So just quickly, so I've gone ahead and I've changed every bulb to 12 volts. That's all 4 turn signals, the brake light, tail light, the instrument panel bulbs, the headlight. I left the horn 6 volt. By the way, the horn is super loud now. I assume the stock horn was 6 volt, but my experience in the past has been, those horns can handle it all. I'm running just the Trail Tech regulator, and I showed you how to wire that up before. I decided to keep the stock rectifier, and then I pulled the CDI out here. So the black and white is the kill switch, which goes to the red and black on the qt50, and then the yellow coming out of the stator is the lighting coil, which I've got running to the blue wire on the stock qt50 stator wires. So yellow to the blue. Ignore the blue wire on the CDI. That's not related. And then the Trail Tech is between them. And then I put together. I got a 12-volt battery as well. So the wiring's pretty simple. If you have any experience in wiring, shouldn't be a problem. So we've moved the stator plate 2 clicks to the left, which I believe, I could be wrong, should retard the timing. And I think based on my ride, that's what I need. So now someone, I think it was Downhill Harvey, brought up the offset flywheel key, which for 25 bucks is not a bad solution. What this does is you can either advance or retard the timing across the entire RPM range. That's the only limitation. 3.6 degrees, and I was running this before. You can get it at is it Pee Wee Cycle? It's either Pee Wee Cycle, I think it's peeweecycle.com for the PW50, but it works on the QT50. But that you install it one way and it retards the timing. You install it the other, it advances the timing, and it does so across the entire RPM range. So there's no curve. So a curve, you see, we were looking at this before. It's advancing the timing from 0 to about 4,000, the red line there, and then it retards the timing from 4,000 all the way throughout the range, however many RPMs you're running. So, but yeah, obviously this is, for the money, this is a great solution. 25 bucks, it's overpriced at 25 bucks, but for 25 bucks, I was running it, retarding the timing. I went from 49.1 miles an hour to 49.9 with this in, and so I got about a mile per hour more. And just, you know, since it was brought up, I thought I'd mention that as well. So, all right, well, we've yammered on too long again. That basically concludes the installation, and you see the adjustments. Now it's just, you know, fine-tuning adjustments and figuring out where it runs the best. And I guess somewhere somebody will have indicated, or at least I think, you know, what those what that little measuring guide on the stator plate, what each tick stands for. Is that like, is each tick a degree? Did I just retard the timing 2 degrees? You know, I don't know. So it's not in the documentation I got. If anybody knows, put it below. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon on the bike.